today is our team building workshop with Mr. Michael Celli with Education First. And he's going to talk to you about team building and how to work in teams in school, and of course once you graduate and work full-time.
Thank you very much, Amy. Like you said, I'm Michael Celli with Education First, a credit union. And there at the credit union, I play many roles in doing team building and group exercises, be it on committees, planning committees, plenty types of team building exercises and group works. So I'm going to go ahead and get started off. The introduction, what we're going to cover today is what is team building, why is team building important, 5 stages of team building, common problems teams face, keys to the success, and the conclusion. And by the way, this is kind of a laid-back seminar. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. If you want any examples, please ask me for examples too. I can give plenty of them. Okay, so what is team building? Team building refers to a wide range of activities used to improve performance and drive results. Teams are used to address problems within the corporation or solutions. I didn't put that in there, but also address solutions. Team building activities increase team cohesiveness through individual self-awareness. When you work in a group together, you not only discover other people's personality traits, but you also discover things about yourself that you probably didn't know about yourself when you work in a group of people that you didn't really know. Often activities promote self-awareness, like I just said, through exposing vulnerabilities and increased trust in relationships. So as your relationships build within the group, the cohesiveness in the group strengthens, and therefore your productivity is going to increase over time. A team is a small number of people. Well, it can be a small number of people or a large number of people. I've been on boards with 20 people, like the Government and Public Affairs Committee here for Beaumont. There's like 20 of us in there, and as little as 4 people. So it can range. They complement skills. It's very good to have a good group of people that have different, diverse skill sets, different personalities. You don't want to have everybody in the group that has the same personality and skill sets because you're not going to be able to go anywhere. You want people in the group to drive you, to make you want to change, to make you look at things a little different. If you do that, then you're going to go a long way as far as a team. Common purpose and performance goal. As a group, you're going to have a purpose and you're going to have a goal for the end result. Common approach. As a group, you've got to come together and decide how you're going to go about achieving that goal. Mutual accountability. Everybody in the group is going to be accountable. We'll have a couple slides at the end of the presentation about being accountable. In school, I'm sure that y'all can all relate. You've been in some groups where just 2 people out of the whole group end up doing the whole presentation or the whole project, and everybody gets the same grade. Well, after college, it's not so much the same. You're not going to get asked to be in a group or be on a committee if you're not a team player. So keep that in mind. Whenever you get that job after college, you're going to want to express these type of traits that you have. Focus on your strengths and increase your weaknesses, okay? Or work on your weaknesses. And also time frame. Teams have time frames because if they didn't have a time frame, then things wouldn't get accomplished. People just keep on putting stuff on the back burner. I was on a membership growth committee for the credit union, and it took us probably about 3 weeks to actually get everything set in line, to create our time frame, because we're just sitting around basically the first 2 weeks, kind of talking to each other about different tactics or approaches or ways to go about increasing membership, but we didn't set a time frame. We didn't set a plan. So by the second week, we had all that set, and we got things going, and we achieved our goal. Okay, why team building is important. It enhances workplace efficiency. You all ever heard the word synergy? The word synergy? Okay, good. Because when you're in teams and being able to work well with everybody else and the employees within the organization, you create some sort of synergy. Everybody knows the role of the other people within the organization or within the team. And after a period of time, the team becomes to work like synergy. Everybody works together and attack their duties. Much of HR is based on the group concept, based on trying to improve workplace identity and cohesion. Complexity and issues within teams are lessened with team building. So the more team building you have within an organization or within school, you're going to have less issues whenever in the future, whenever you're working with other people. It creates effective teams that encourage free discussion. To me, that's one of the most important things. Whenever you're in a group, don't hold back. If you got something to say, say it. Don't be rude with it, but there's always a good approach. Every idea is a good idea in my opinion. It's just how it's worded, okay? And if you disagree, express how you disagree. But just don't be rude, like I said. You can always say something, but you just got to say it the right way. Open disagreement. Like I said, if you disagree, let it know. Express yourself. Expression of feelings, mutual influence, and clear leadership. Whenever you're in a group, you can't have a group of 5 and have 5 people want to be the leader. You got to have the roles set. If you're going to have a leader in the group, have that set, have it made aware of everybody in the group. That way, the common goals can be achieved. Team building improves team outcomes. Specifically, process and effective outcomes are most improved by team building. Okay. 5 stages of team building. Stage 1 is forming. This is the beginning stage. This is the stage whenever members of the team meet and they learn about each other's roles that need to be filled. Ground rules are set and the leaders of the group are identified. Now stage 2 is a little bit more different. Individuals' expression of ideas occur and conflict arises. Conflict is not a bad thing within a group, but it can ruin a group if you let it go too far, okay? So like I said, if there's a little conflict, express yourself. This is a normal stage within a group. Low trusted team members is an indicator of this stage, especially in the workplace. In the workplace, you have people sometimes in committees or groups that have different levels of authority within the organization, okay? So let's say you got 2 managers and 2 people that are underneath managers, and then a CEO in the committee for this organization. Well, you're going to have people that that will think that possibly somebody is after their job position. You might think that's crazy, but I've seen it. I've seen it in other organizations, and it happens. People are young. I mean, whenever y'all get out of college, you're going to be young and hungry, and y'all are going to want that next big position. So you're going to be gunning after somebody. So that low trust within the group can be established sometimes. So make sure that you all make sure that the common goal is going to be attained. Team leader must remind everyone to be tolerant and patient. Because once you get through stage 2, that's when things really start to form. Stage 3 is the norming. In this stage, habits that support the group, rules, goals, and develop. Members are getting used to the norms of the group. Team relationships grow and individual characteristics are better understood and utilized. So stage 3, everybody kind of pretty much quits their pouting party. They decide to work together, and the common goals are starting to be realized. Relationships are starting to grow, and they start to figure out how they can help other people within the group, how they can work off each other's strong suits, how they can finish their goal in time. Because all goals have a timeline. So you got to achieve this within a certain time, or in my case, we aren't going to have the members that we needed in that membership committee, or we're not going to have our loan products go out to the marketing department on time. So all these can relate. Stage 4, performing. This stage shows high level of loyalty. By this time, the group's well cohesed. They all know each other. The relationships are built. It's a very strong group. So the stage 2 shows high levels of loyalty to members within the group. Motivation. It's very important for the leader of the group to motivate people. And also, if you're not the leader, still take the motivation yourself. Take it upon yourself to try to motivate teams. It's not just one person. There's a group of 4. Everybody should pretty much have that same feeling within the group about the goal. At the credit union, we call it drinking the punch. Credit unions are all about people helping people. And literally, I drink the punch every morning whenever I go to work. That's my main goal, is to educate and help people understand financial literacy and things that go on within the financial institution. Be it any question that has to do with the credit union, I'm here for our members. So drink the punch with your group. Take it all in. The team becomes self-directed in order to meet their goals and carry them out. Like I said, each role is identified within the group, and now the timeline's set, and the goal can start to be achieved. Okay. Stage 5. This is reforming. This is the last stage. This is the final stage where the team members celebrate each other and recognize group achievement. You know, if you're going to be in a group, you're not going to be in a group because there's not going to be any reward at the end or a sense of self-accomplishment, okay? So as a group, it's good for y'all to actually celebrate what you've done, the good you've done, the accomplishments you've done. So make sure you let everybody know how good of a job they did, and in return, I'm sure it'll happen to you if you did your part. Okay, some problems within groups. I've seen all of these different types of problems happen over the years of work, and this is not specifically at the credit union. Before I worked at Channel 12, and I wrote commercials for NBC here in Beaumont, and I was on a couple meetings there, and the TV industry is a little bit more feisty than, say, the financial industry. So you might see a little bit of these, because it's a lot of creative minds together. Feuding members, okay? For instance, Channel 12, you got a bunch of agency executives, that's what I was, and everybody's trying to get, sales for the station. So I could go call on JK Chevrolet and try to bring in their business. Okay, well, as a group and a team at the Channel 12, another person's not supposed to go call on JK Chevrolet because that's my business. That's my client. But it happens, and it's not pretty when it happens. I didn't try to make a big deal of it or a big scene, but I did see some scenes break out, and you don't want that in the workplace, okay? Overbearing participants. Who's ever been, felt just overwhelmed with a group or everything that's going on, and you don't feel like there's some sort of alignment within the group? Raise a hand, anybody? Yeah. It happens a lot. Dominating participants. Here in school, I remember whenever I was at A&M, I was in a couple of organizations there where you have certain people that, are the 4.0s, and nothing wrong with 4.0s. I didn't make 4.0s, unfortunately, but you have some people that are really smart, and they want to take the reins. That's a good thing, but they can be a little overbearing sometimes in the group and not let the group get to provide information or contribute to the group and its goal. Reluctant participants, and it's just the opposite of dominating. I mean, you have some people in groups, like I said, that'll sit back and let everybody else do the work. That's not good. You're not going to be asked to join other committees and groups when you're in the workplace setting, so keep that in mind. And rush to accomplishment. You never want to rush to accomplishment. In the work that I do now, I do my work within the group, and then I review myself, and then as a group we review. You don't want to rush to the finish line, because when you do that, you're going to have typos in your marketing pieces. You're going to have the wrong messages you're sending out whenever you think you're sending something else out. Okay, things are going to get looked over. So make sure you don't rush to the finish line. You have that timeline set. Get to the timeline. Don't try to finish before, okay? Because the quality is going to be affected drastically. Like I said, in school you got some problems, okay? We just covered some of them. Right here, the wolf pack, okay? Well, the wolf pack, they work as a team to solve problems during the hangover movies, okay? So every group project in school you've ever done, you got somebody that does 99% of the work, right? You got somebody that has no idea what's going on. They just show up every once in a while, right? And then he says he'll help, but he never does. Okay? Procrastinates, puts things off. And you got this guy who thinks he's all that, and he disappears at the very beginning and shows up at the very end and expects to get the grade and the credit, but didn't do anything. That's not going to happen in the workplace, okay? So just realize that. You got to be able to put in your 10 cents. You can't put in 2 cents or 1 cent and expect to get the results you want from the workplace. I know all y'all have high ambitions about work whenever y'all graduate, but you got to show it. You can't just get out of college, and that's a lot of misinterpretations of people nowadays that are graduating college, that you're going to get out and you're going to make a lot of money. I hope you do. I really do. But the reality of it is, you're going to have to work your way up, okay? You're going to have to prove yourself, prove your qualities, prove what you can actually do in the workplace. How can you benefit them? And by being able to work with a team and achieve a common goal, which most organizations are just a big team trying to achieve a common goal, then you will have opportunities along the line. got to stay with the company for a decent amount of time. Keys to success. Okay, interdependence within the group. You got to be able to work with the group, know what you're supposed to do, and do it on your own. Don't rely on anybody else, okay? That's the number one thing in the group. You cannot rely on someone else to do your work, okay? So do what you got to do, come present it to the group, and as a group, y'all will all review and work over and correct or voice your opinion about stuff, okay? Goal specification. If you have a vague goal, okay, have y'all been in groups where y'all really didn't exactly know what y'all were supposed to do at the end result? Yes? Okay, that happens sometimes. So it's good sometimes to go through your plan. Make a plan for your goal, okay? Like I said, set the timeline. Set the rules and norms, or the roles and norms within the group. Who's going to do what? Who's going to do what by when? When we're going to review all this. All this is very important. You can't just fly by the seat of your pants in the workplace, okay? You might be able to get away with it, in college sometimes. I'm not saying you do, but I did a little bit, and it can affect you, okay? So you got to learn now to be able to do this before you get into the workplace. Roles and norms, like I said, it's very important. Cohesiveness within the group, you have to have it. If you don't have cohesiveness within the group is not going to be able to achieve their common goal over the right period of time, and the goal is going to be of less quality than if you had a team with cohesiveness. Communication within the group. That's my favorite one. I like to voice my opinion. I like to talk, and I like to make up ideas. I love ideas. Any idea is a good idea to me, okay? You just got to look at it the right way. So if you're in a group, make sure to communicate, voice your opinion, okay? Don't just sit there and be quiet, because you're not going to be asked to be in a group again if you don't communicate. I can guarantee you, okay? Okay, so in conclusion, most likely we're all going to participate on team in a workplace setting, as we already have in educational settings. Everybody here has worked in a group, correct? Raise your hands. Yeah. Okay. So take what you learn now while you're in school. That way you can be ready for whenever you reach the workplace. The dynamics of the team and its members play out naturally and are important for interconnectedness and interpersonal growth. It's not only good for the group, okay, for you to be in. It's good for yourself. You're uncovering things about yourself that you didn't know. Weaknesses and strengths, okay? The weaknesses, you work on them. You start trying to make them better, because that weakness can eventually be a strength, okay? And the strengths you have, plan. Use them to your advantage within the group, okay? Because that's what you're there for. They have you there in the group or team or committee because you have something to offer. So make sure you're offering your best quality, your best work. Team building strategies, which vary from small activities to multi-day retreats. They can help the effectiveness and efficiency of the team. How many of y'all have been to it's this ranch type team building thing where you walk a rope and you fall backwards and all that crazy stuff? Anybody ever been to this thing? You've been there, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, so I mean, you can go to retreats like that. Some of these organizations do crazy stuff, which are fun. They're team building exercises, You can do things that even such as icebreakers. I had an icebreaker in here for this presentation for everybody, but I realized that there was way too many people in here. It'd take the whole time to do the dang icebreaker. But, I mean, as a team, you're going to find different things throughout your work environment and different things that you're going to go through where they try to help build. Like I said, HR focuses on team building almost as much as the actual products and services that are offered by the organization. So it's very, very important. That's the end of the slideshow. I'd be more than happy to answer some questions or suggestions or anything. Please raise your hand. I got time. I wanted to make it a little short because I wanted some questions. I'd be more than happy to answer some. So let's do 5 questions as a group. Okay? Can we do that?
If working within groups, what's the hardest challenge that you face per se?
I'd say stage 2, whenever you're in that storming phase, because everybody's kind of trying to rush to find the actual role within the group and the norms within the group. What's going to be the line that's crossed? Do I cross that line if I have to, or do I not? How am I going to get my point across? How am I going to communicate with the other members of the group? And you start to try to figure that out. You know, as the time goes by, relationships grow, you understand the people in the group. But that probably, to me, is one of the most time-consuming, and it takes away from productivity. In the workplace, time is productivity. It's, you know, you screw up for a week, you're losing the company money. You've got to be able to come to work and get yourself done and do your work every day. If you're in a group and the group basically, you know, screws off that meeting, you're wasting the company's money. You got 5 people in the group, they're getting paid $25 an hour. You know, over a month's period, you're going to waste the company a couple $1,000. You know, if you're not achieving your goal and getting your groups done right. Good question.
How do you deal with someone that's actually overbearing and doesn't listen to other people's ideas?
What I've done in the past, and I'm not saying it's the right thing, but it helps, is get the group together and not call the person out directly, but bring up, I call it covering, you know, covering the issue a little bit, to where the person doesn't feel like they're being called out, you know. Let's say somebody within a group is not being as productive as they should. They're not reaching their timelines. So in the next group meeting, the leader, you talk to the leader and tell them, you know, this is what's happening, I'm seeing this, the leader's going to agree. And so the leader should approach it in a direct way, doesn't want to cause any more separation within the group. You want to make the group grow. So what I would do is, you know, I'd say something like, okay, so let's re-evaluate our purposes, our mission, and what we're trying to achieve here, okay? And then have everybody's timelines set out. And then kind of go over it and ask you, so well, where are you at on this? Whenever you bring somebody, call somebody out in the way about their productivity, then let them at least try to defend themselves, you know? If they have a good reason, you know, maybe they got some new technology within the workplace, and it's hard to understand it. They're having trouble with the training. So maybe they need more training to better understand. And once they get that training, then the group can produce, you know, quality work. But you don't know until you ask. But you just don't want to do it in a, you know, direct way. It's going to feel like the person's being attacked. That's at least the route that I go. I try not to be as direct. And sometimes I won't even actually talk to the person directly, just talk to the group as a whole. Say, guys, look, we need to work on this. We need to really focus on achieving our timelines. If we don't achieve our timelines, there could be possible negative effects down the road. Because, like I said, I serve the members. We have 33,000 members of the credit union, and I work for them. So I feel like I'm doing them, you know, a disservice if I'm slacking off or if I'm not doing my job correctly. And so that message has got to be relayed within the group of the organization. I hope that answers your question.
What is the biggest benefit for the individual and the organization? That's 2 questions.
Yes.
With team building.
Oh, as an individual, I'd say personal growth. Anytime, every group I've been in, committee, you know, any type of team building exercise, I always walk away knowing something new about myself. It could be a strength or it could be a weakness. But by knowing these, you're going to be able to enable yourself to become a better person individually within the workplace. And by doing so, you're going to set yourself up for a position in the long term, okay? If your boss can see that you can adapt, make changes, and fix things that you're doing, you know, wrong in a way, that shows that's a quality right there in itself. So if you can do that, then your boss is going to say, this person can change, this person can adapt, this person can work well with others. He needs to be in a leadership role, not in a, you know, specialist role. He needs to be a manager. Within the corporation or the business, team building probably benefits the most as far as productivity. I mean, you know, in ideas, at the credit union we have multiple small committees. We get together and we have, you know, membership growth committees. We have marketing committees where we brainstorm, you know, come up with ideas and strategies. And some of the best ideas and strategies come about that type of stuff. If you have one mind, you're going to get possibly some good quality work. You know, we have a good marketing director at the credit union. But if you put 5 minds together from the best spots of the credit union, like your VP of lending, your CEO, your marketing director, some people on the front line, that right there is a good mix of individuals throughout the organization. They're going to be able to contribute their own views of how things operate within the credit union. Because the person on the front line, you know, they meet the member every day. So they're going to see what's going on with the members every day. They get to offer that insight to the group. The marketing director, he has a specialty of knowing what actually you need to market, how you need to market. Because people say in Jasper and Kirbyville, they actually read the newspaper a lot more than here in Beaumont, okay? So that type of knowledge is very important to a group because the person on the front line might not actually bring that to the table or that idea to the table. And the CEO offers, insight strategies as far as, our budgets, how much we can spend, what has happened in the past. Our CEO currently has worked for the credit union for 27 years. He's seen a lot of things happen within the credit union. A lot of different approaches, some fails, some successes, and some ways to strengthen on some fails that can be successes, okay? So that was a very good question. Very good question.
What is the leader's role in a group in making the final decision?
Okay, that is a very
How
good
do
question
you
too.
differentiate different opinions in a group?
Okay, whenever you said a leader's role within a group, first thing I thought of is you cannot be indecisive. As a leader, you got to be able to make decisions right off the bat or within a timely manner. My role at the credit union, I have things come across my desk every day where if I waited 2 or 3 days, I'd have stuff stacked up like here. So, as a leader, you have to be able to make decisions, quality decisions, and communicate within the team in the proper way. If bad leaders tend to not communicate properly or target people, put people down, and don't actually work together as a team. They want to create the cohesiveness. They're like the baseball coach for a baseball team, They create the camaraderie. They create the culture within that group. And without that, without the leader, there's not going to be anybody to look up to. It's going to be like a pack of wolves. And your goal's not going to be achieved. It's not going to hit by the timeline. And the quality of the work is not going to be as good as if you were to have a good leader. So, good question. One more question. Or 2 more. How many do you have?
Along with what you just said there, I know the old saying, the speed of the coach is the speed of the team. But if you have a leader that there's really no confidence in, how as a group do you deal with a weak leader?
That's a good question. If the group as itself doesn't have confidence within the leader, what's going to happen, honestly, is the group is not going to achieve the goal. It's just, unless a miracle happens or the group meets together and, like I said, take the indirect approach as a group and say, we're not achieving our goals. Let's look at why we're not achieving these goals. And then that leader's going to have an aha moment and say, oh man, I'm not doing my role. I'm not doing my job to best suit the group. What can be changed? What can I do? Or you could possibly bring it to the superior, like the CEO of the credit union. If there's something that's holding the group back, I have no problem going to him and saying, look, it's been 3 weeks. We still haven't reached a time frame and a goal, and how we're going to go about achieving membership growth. So that right there is you taking responsibility as an employee and making sure that the group achieves that effective goal. Because maybe that person's not supposed to be a leader, in the group. Maybe a leader in another group, but not that one. The VP of accounting, for instance, they see things a lot of black and white. It's good to have them in some of these groups, but if you're looking for, a brainstorming session for ideas, your accounting, I'm not saying any of our accounting majors don't hate me. This is what I've seen. They're really black and white. They're all about numbers, and that's good to take your group's information to them and have them review it. But, you're not going to get that many ideas or creative ideas because everything's black and white. If this happens, this is going to happen. Not what if this happens and maybe this could happen, It's pretty interesting in that dynamic, and if you have a leader that's, not well liked or doesn't have the faith within the members of the group, it's going to be tough. It's going to be really tough. So, you could take it into your hands, like I said, or try to fight it out, But, or pick up the slack. The group sometimes will take it into their own hands and pick up the slack and, be self-directed. That's some of the best groups you can have when everybody's self-directed. They know what they got to do. And things get turned out just boom, boom, boom every quarter. And your productivity's up, the numbers are up, the loans are up. Everybody's happy. It's a beautiful thing whenever teams and groups actually work well together. I hope that answered your question.
I have a question about, on your resume, what's an interesting way or a more concise way of articulating that you're good in teams instead of just, I'm good in teams?
Okay, that's a good question. Whenever I was in college, honestly, and it's not a good thing, but I wasn't in that many group or activities, as far as extracurricular within the school. But in your case, you want to have that, okay? I had to work really hard to show and improve myself in the workplace that I am capable, okay? And if you have that on your resume that, you were in a sorority or the business fraternity, or you volunteered within, Habitat for Humanity, for instance, just showing that you can actually achieve common goals in groups that, are reputable, that you can put on your resume, and that's a good thing. Employers are going to see that they're going to like that, and they're actually going to take that into consideration as far as your role within that organization, or not your role in the organization. And it's not just your resume, it's your interviewing too. Whenever you interview with the company, you want to express that. You want to tell them that you like to communicate, you like to talk to people, you like to solve problems, you work well with others. Those are key things that HR looks at, that HR listens to. If you got somebody that says, I'm wonderful at accounting, I can crunch numbers all day. Well, they're going to have a specific role, but if they can't work well with others, if they can't delegate, if they can't be in a leadership position, they aren't going to go anywhere. You got to grow as a person. If you just try to stand still and not make yourself a better person within the workplace, you're not going to move up, okay? And who all wants to make more money, right? Yeah. So you got to do this. You got to do this. Unless you start your own business and you can do it however you want. If it makes a lot of money, congratulations. But any more questions?
You shared experience where you were in a team that was faced by a pretty difficult challenge, and you came together and dealt with it.
Okay, I have that question. I was in this group called Leadership Beaumont, okay? Here in Beaumont, honestly, and we as a group, it was pretty challenging at first because they take different people that they think could possibly be leaders in the community. And there was 40 of us at the time, and they put us in groups of 8. Okay, well, when we were in groups of 8, they gave us a topic. Ours was youth, alcohol, and drug abuse, okay? I don't know anything about that. None of us knew anything about that. We had a realtor, owner of Apex Payroll. I was with the credit union and the news station. So all of us didn't really know anything about it, but we had a short time period. There was a whole year of these presentations, but we were one of the first presentations. So we got thrown into it. We met twice a week for 2 hours a week, and as a group, we started to come together. We started to have our plans, and to me, that was the most overwhelming thing because we really didn't see anybody's presentations before. We heard about them, but we didn't know exactly what was supposed to be expected. And so that was pretty an interesting experience in my part, but it was probably one of the best experiences that I've had working as a group with people that I actually didn't even know, and we're trying to achieve a common goal and a common good goal. And it was effective. And the cool thing about it was, being a leader, you have to be able to do things but not expect a pat on the back. I know it feels good. It really does feel good to get recognition for your work. But this group that I was in, what we did is we made the presentation. We set everything up. We invited all the city council members, the mayor, all these people came, but we didn't give the presentation. We were behind the curtains. We had Kevin Steele from Channel 12 come and give the presentation. Because it's all about doing all this work. It was probably about 30 hours of work that we contributed and not getting anything in return, but doing a service for our community and a service for the people. And that's what leaders are all about, doing something for the greater good of the company. It's going to pay off. People see it. They might not give you the pat on the back, but they're going to notice it. So it was a really fun experience. If you ever do get a chance to do leadership Beaumont, I strongly suggest it. Any more questions?
What's the best way to going about personal disputes in a group?
Personal disputes in a group? Well, if they get too escalated, okay, and you feel that there's no other options, you either go to your superiors or you go to HR and you talk about it. Because, if you try every single avenue and you couldn't get anywhere, that's where I would go. Because you don't want to, number one, within a workplace, you don't want to jump toes, as I call it. Okay, you don't want to jump your superior's toes and go to the next person above them. because then your manager's going to be mad. They're going to feel offended. So go the proper channels within a workplace. And whenever you get hired on, you're going to have training, and they're going to show you all the proper channels in which you're going to have to communicate through to achieve what you have to. If there are minor disputes, like you said, like communication is so important. If you're in a group where there's a lot of disputes, but y'all feel y'all can talk very well with each other, talk about it. Say, let's get out of this setting, let's go somewhere else. A lot of times whenever we're in some groups, when we have like a roadblock, we'd say, we go outside, loosen things up a little bit, that brings everybody's guard down a little bit. Nobody's being, all dukes up, If you get outside, maybe take a walk as a group and just talk it out, bring it up, say what you did, what you said, about my work, it offended me. I put in 10 hours of work on these, Excel spreadsheets trying to, explain to you how it's going to be profitable for this organization, but you just didn't quite understand the route I was trying to take, and you just straight up attacked my work. Please reconsider and try to actually understand. Have an open mind. And if that doesn't work, then I'd say go to the proper channels to try to get that fixed. Any more? Just sounds quiet. Like that. All right. That's my presentation. Last part.